All right, hey there, Wade Sellers again, and this video is going to bring in parameters and return values with functions and apply it to a SwiftUI app. So now we talked about parameters, we've talked about return types. Let's bring it all together in a very basic example. So if you want to pause and open up a brand new SwiftUI app, I'm using the Swift Playgrounds app on a Mac, but you can also be on your iPad on the Swift Playgrounds. Just make sure that you're in an app, not a basic playground file, not an Xcode, because we want to see the app preview here as we make the change, okay? So what I've got here is just a very basic app with a body and a text view that says hello world, and you see it right there. Now in this example, we're going to create a function that takes in two parameters, an X value and a Y value, and we're going to add them together and we're going to return that value. And then we're going to change what's in the text view to show the sum of adding those two numbers together, okay? So let's get started. I'm going to move myself down. Now, outside of the body, but inside the content view, we're going to create our function, okay? So we're going to do func, we're going to call it add together, that's how we're going to call it, and we're going to have parameters this time. So the first one is going to be the X parameter, and we'll put a colon, and that's going to be of type integer, comma, and we'll do the Y parameter, and that is also going to be of type integer, and then we're going to add them together and return them. So what will that return type be? It's going to be an integer, okay? Let's open up the curly braces. Let's create a parking spot here, and we're going to call it let answer equal, and we're going to add X and Y, so X plus Y. So we're going to take the two numbers and add them together and set them to equal the value for our constant answer. Then all we have to do is return them. So we're going to return the answer, okay? So we're going to run this function, drop in two numbers, it's going to spit out another number, which is these numbers added together, and we're going to set them inside the text value. So all we have to do for this is we can go ahead and do a little parking spot up here so our code makes sense, and we'll call it since we're adding, we'll call it let sum equal, let's call our function, add together, and notice right there it already has the inputs, and you can see it's an integer and an integer, and it's going to spit out or return an integer, okay? So let's give it 5 and 3, okay? So we're going to give it these values, and then in text, instead of hello world, we can say the sum of the numbers, let's just say the sum is, and then using string interpolation, we're going to add the sum in there, okay? And notice, you'll see the sum is 8. We added 5 and 3 together right here, and we spit out the answer, and we set it up here as the sum, okay? We can change the numbers up. We could do 103, and notice the sum equals 103. So this is an example of how to use a function that takes parameters in and returns a value, and you use that value in your SwiftUI app, all right? Now in the next video and the last video for functions, it's a little optional, but it's definitely recommended. We're going to talk about naming parameters with labels, okay? So stay tuned for the next video. I'll see you there.